Okay, and just like that, the Oklahoma Sooners get their first decommit of the 2024 cycle, and Doze Ezukanma. Yes, you heard me right. But listen, you're starting to see a lot of people go out there and put their expectations that they will be in the portal. You're hearing a lot of portal rumors. Additionally, the 2024 cycle, guys, it's not over. It's sounding like it's starting to heat back up for Oklahoma in terms of prospects that maybe they had originally moved on from, or guys that originally moved on from them. But before we dive into it and before we talk about it, I need to hear from y'all, especially around this transfer portal, because Oklahoma has already had a couple guys hit the portal, but they might be looking to make a couple additions. So I need to hear from you and hear what y'all's thoughts are around the additions, the people leaving the portal, or what Oklahoma could possibly get. Additionally, if you haven't already, make sure you're hitting that like and hitting that subscribe button. So we're going to end with 2024 recruiting. You guys are going to want to make sure you stay for that because there's a lot of good stuff there. But we need to start with transfer portal. And I want to start with one prospect that I haven't seen an offer flow in from Oklahoma yet. Kind of shocked. Hoping it comes through, and that's for the defensive lineman Joey Slackman out of Pennsylvania. Yes, the Ivy League college. In just 2 seasons of playing ball there, he had 48 total tackles here in 2023, and he had 49 in 2022. An absolute monster at 6'4", 300 pounds, going to be a senior, a redshirt senior, or something like that of those lines. This would be a guy that you would imagine if Todd Bates and Brent Venables got into this defense with the experience that he has and the way that he's been able to produce. He would be a guy that would play here at Oklahoma, and he would be depth that would be needed, especially with Oklahoma losing as many guys as we think they're going to be losing this offseason on the defensive line. Now, you guys saw that Ezukanma ended up decommitting from Oklahoma, and I think a lot of people started asking the question, well, then what's Oklahoma going to do? Are they going to save that one for 2024? Are they going to move it to 2025 and take a guy out of the portal? And I kind of heard it's an either-or situation. If they find the right wide receiver in the portal, a guy that is a talented prospect like the likes of Evan Stewart, and we'll get to why I'm bringing him up here in a second, then yes, they would take a guy in the transfer portal. Now, if Terry Bussey or a Brian Wesco were to come along and they were to be made available, although Bryant Wesco has made it clear that he wants to stay at Clemson, that spot would be there for them. And I think it makes it a little bit more manageable now at this point. So you look at some potential portal additions at the wide receiver. And the first one I'm looking at is Eric McAllister, the sophomore wide receiver out of Boise State, who has caught 47 receptions this season for 873 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then in 2022, had 11 receptions for 259 yards and 4 touchdowns. This has been a guy that's been able to produce for Boise State, been one of their best wide receivers. And this could be a target that you could see Oklahoma going after. Now, I mentioned Evan Stewart, and you might be saying, that's the 5-star kid from 2022 that's at Texas A&M. Well, so we've been chatting in our college football collective group chat. And one of the things that we've really talked about is Evan Stewart potentially ending up at Bama, right? That's been our long running joke. He's going to end up at Bama at some point. Well, not too long ago, we started talking and some of the guys said, hey, to go as far as Evan Stewart could land at Oklahoma if he ends up in the portal because of Emmett Jones. And although I know Oklahoma fans would like to have that happen because Emmett Jones he's proven that he's an elite recruiter. He proves that he can do it at an elite level with the best of the best. I don't think you land Evan Stewart. One, I think your depth chart when it comes to the wide receivers it's deep. And I mean, yes, a Nick Anderson and Jaden Gibson, and if Jalil Farouk comes back, like all of those guys are really good. I think it would be hard for Evan Stewart to come in and supplant himself as the number one option. As you go to Bama, there is a need there for wide receivers right away. So I look at it and say, I'm going to stick to my deal. Evan Stewart probably ends up with Alabama if he hits the portal. But I know it's one that Oklahoma fans have asked questions about because there has been a few rumblings out there on social media about it. Now, the other one is a junior wide receiver out of Indiana that hit the transfer portal, Donovan, and I believe it's pronounced McCulley, the 6'5", 200-pound wide receiver out of Indiana. Well, I think that speaks for itself. 6'5", a tall dude, and he's not no scrub. In 2023, he had 48 receptions, 644 yards, and 6 touchdowns for a bad Indiana team. I mean, that Indiana team went 3-9. It's not like they had a lot of options there. And in 2022, he had 16 receptions for 169 yards. So this could be an option for Oklahoma. Again, not sure if it's likely, but remember, you've got Deshaun McCullough there from Indiana last year. So to be able to dip back in to Indiana again and get this kid, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility for the staff. Now, I want to talk about this transfer portal addition today is Raelik Brown. So transfer portal got Raelik Brown today out of USC. And if you all remember in high school, Raelik Brown committed to Oklahoma and was committed to Oklahoma for a while. DeMarco Murray did an exceptional job there. And you saw his career at USC not take off. In 2021, which the first year of being at USC, he was mainly used as a receiver that year. 12 receptions, 116 yards. In 2022, he only ran 2 carries for 72 yards. In 2022, he had 17 receptions for 236 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then here in 2023, 17 receptions for 146 yards and 1 touchdown. But I could definitely see DeMarco Murray and this staff really trying to go ahead and test the waters, kick the tires on Raelik Brown, and see if he would be in for a reunion with Oklahoma to come back. Because just looking at his running ability on the field, Raelik Brown is absolutely talented. I mean, he ran a 4.47 So you look at him with his natural low center of gravity. It's going to be a hard guy that's going to be able to hard to be tackled, and there could be a lot of different use cases for him in this offense, or what we seem to be is going to be a similar offense to what was being ran here with the new offensive coordinator. So I would keep your eyes out on Raelik Brown. The only other notable transfer portal prospect that I looked at and said, I wonder if Oklahoma is going to go out there and potentially kick the tires on that guy. It's the Michigan State starting offensive tackle. You know who I'm talking about? Yes, you heard me right. Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown has started a little over 24 games for Michigan State. And the redshirt junior, he's played right tackle, he's played left tackle, and he's got some college eligibility. And we all have seen what happens with these offensive linemen that are a little bit older. They're getting to the point where they're becoming draft eligible, but maybe they weren't getting it done at the school that they were at. So now they look at a place like Oklahoma with Bill Bedenbaugh and his track record for the NFL and say, I want to be a part of that. I want Bill Bedenbaugh to help me out. So he made 24 career starts, including 2 at left tackle in 33 games with Michigan State. Michigan State's just not had a good year in terms of recruiting and the transfer portal. You would expect you're probably going to see more come out of that school, but this is one that I would expect to see Oklahoma maybe make a jump on if they end up wanting to take a couple offensive linemen to the portal, which I would imagine they are, because you're going to be potentially losing a couple guys. Now, when it comes to the recruiting trail, I think people have had questions about, is Oklahoma going to be able to retain anybody in the wake of Jeff Lebby leaving? And although I don't think you've had anybody decommit because of Jeff Lebby, and I don't think you're going to see anybody decommit because of Jeff Lebby leaving, I do think Oklahoma is about to start really pressing the tires on a lot of kids. And so I was talking to Jay about this over at Unfair Sports, and he said you guys might find this as an unpopular take, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but Oklahoma not going to the Big 12 championship the year before they go to the SEC might be a blessing in disguise. And here's what I mean by that. Yes, it's great to go play for championships, but as Saban will tell you, playing for championships prevents you from being on the recruiting trail during the most crucial times. Meaning, Brent Venables and this staff, they're going to be able to prepare hard, and they're going to be able to be there for some of those in-home visits. And when you look at prospects that maybe they want to go out there and land, like a Terry Bussey, maybe they want to flip a Williams Nwaneri, maybe they look at a Peyton Pierce or a Sammy Brown or a Braden Platt. Remember all those linebackers that we looked at and said, hey, and then you only ended up with one in this class? Maybe Oklahoma starts to look at it and say, we're going to push for some of these guys. We're going to press on the tires really hard. We're really going to make them say no. So when you look at the recruiting trail in 2024, Graham Brickstall has not made his decision. You still are going to get an in-home visit there. Maybe he doesn't make his decision before you get that in-home visit, right? Then you look at Williams Nwaneri. Maybe you get an opportunity to get in that room with his mom and dad and sell the idea that Williams Nwaneri should be a Sooner. Now, although it's probably not likely at this point, you saw Williams Nwaneri shut Ronnie Crimson down on Twitter saying, I wonder if he'll ever stop tweeting at me because I'm not coming to Oklahoma. So maybe that's the telling tale. But listen, the 2024 recruiting cycle, it's not over. You can see Oklahoma take a stud wide receiver if it's available. You're most likely going to see it be a portal guy and then maybe even add one in 2025. Shoot, I wouldn't even be surprised to see them try to kick the tires on some guys that they moved on from before. So we're going to be following up with some recruits over the next couple of days, kind of see where Oklahoma is at on their list now that Jeff Lebby is gone. Additionally, as the transfer portal opens up on the 4th, you're going to continue to see guys hit the portal before then. And then when the 4th opens up, you're going to see a tremendous amount of guys hit the portal at that time. So I want to hear from you, and I want to hear what y'all's thoughts are. Go ahead, jump down in the comments below, join the discussion. And if you haven't already, you guys need to make sure you're watching one of these videos, especially on the absence of Lebby and who the next offensive coordinator could potentially